I think it was a really special opportunity to be able to meet people who are Basque, coming from Canada, learn about their culture and their society and their values, and to be able to work together. I think it created an opportunity where the ideas that we came up with wouldn't have happened if we weren't collaborating as Canadians and people from Basque. The uh, the different perspectives and skills and expertise in different areas of the different students that were here this week, I think, made it so the potentialities of our projects were vastly expanded because of the different perspectives that we had.
I think I learned the importance of all of the background work before you have a prototype. Like we spent 4 days, 5 days just thinking and reflecting and forming all of these like networks of ideas before we got to the concrete solution, which I think was interesting because it gave us like a big background of information and the kind of methodology and philosophical reasons why we're doing this, which helped us create the final product. So I'm used to just making the final product and then figuring out why it works or making an argument why it works. We had that first this time.
I liked learning some Basque words. That was fun. I like going to San Sebastian, really pretty place, swimming a little bit. Also, I liked during the group work, going through the process, being pushed a lot. I'm not gonna name names, but someone who pushed us every time. What about do this, do this? Is that an idea?
I think just narrowing down on one idea. There's a lot of new things that we learned this week, and again, like I mentioned, they're all very meaningful and very important in their own way. And I think when you're thinking about collaborative governance on a global scale, it's easy to want to just change the world and make everyone believe in collaborative governance. So it's a good problem to have, but I would say our biggest challenge as a group was to narrow down our solution or our project in a way that made it pragmatic, something that could actually make a difference in the field of collaborative governance. But that was only made possible because of the different things I think that we learned this week and the different perspectives we used to work on the project.
I think that we were presented with a narrative about Basque and maybe a limited information about history, like political history, like resistance, things like that. Um, it was really interesting to learn from the other students about that. Would have been really nice to have that information kind of before. But it was really interesting to learn as we go because a lot of information sharing about what's happening in Canada, what's happening in Basque, how are the two related, what is the political culture, and how does that reflect in their policies. Things like that is really interesting, but also challenging because we had to kind of start from like a very limited level of information.
Well, it's been, I think the most challenging part is having such a short amount of time to tackle on such a big challenge. So having to work so much, so focused all the time, and then like having balancing that with meeting people, going places. It's been a very intense week where we were challenged a lot.
I would say to them to just come with a very open mind and be ready to learn a lot and eat a lot and talk a lot, meet a ton of new people. I would say generally, yeah, to be willing to share, to be willing to be vulnerable and work together. Speak to our own weaknesses and then be made strong, by the strength of our group mates and of course people from a whole different country that we've never met before. So yeah, I would say the open mindedness is what I would say is important to bring from Canada.
Well, I would highly encourage them to come. I would also give them a lot of pointers on what to do in Bilbao. Tell them to try to spend as much time or more time in San Sebastian as possible. And also to come with the idea of it's not going to be easy. You're going to be there and you're going to be challenged. So be ready for that.
I would definitely encourage them to come. I think it was a beautiful experience, and I really enjoyed creating a concrete policy out of it. Sometimes I feel like GLE, our program governance, leadership, and ethics, it can be really conceptual and kind of meta, and we don't actually get to see concrete policies taken from our work. Whereas a bunch of people actually after a presentation came up to us and talked about actually bringing our policy to life. like our app might be developed early stages, but it's really interesting to see that happen. So if students have an idea that they really want to make happen, it's a really good place to do that. Also, it's just beautiful.